I declare war. I was on YouTube a few minutes ago, and one of the YouTubers that I follow on YouTube mentioned a video that David Carroll did. So I went to David Carroll's page and I watched the video. Just like a maggot emerging from a piece of fecal matter, this guy, David Carroll, anytime something racist happens, this guy pops his ugly bald head up to defend the white races. That's his mission in life. He's a boot-licking, butt-kissing Uncle Tom, a straight-up sellout, a minstrel, a coon, a Sambo, a damn house Negro. And I'm calling him out. Now, we all know about the racist statement that Donald Sterling made. He basically told his girlfriend that he doesn't want her to associate with black people in public. He said that he doesn't want her to take pictures on Instagram with African Americans. And he even went a step further than that. He said that he doesn't want black people to come to his games. If that is not racist, I don't know what is. And in David Carroll's video, he came up with a whole bunch of ridiculous reasons to justify this man's actions. Just like old tap dancing, shoe shining Uncle Tom, he's defending the white races again. Anytime something like this happens, he defends the white people, the white races. He defends George Zimmerman. He defends, all these other racist people. And I've done a video about this issue earlier today. I talked about what action needs to be taken. And I just want to take a minute out to bring your attention to a petition that I'm encouraging everyone to sign. In the description box to this video, I will include a link to a petition that's calling for Donald Sterling to be removed from owning the Clippers. So I want you to check out that petition and sign that petition. It's time to stand up. And not only do we need to stand up against the racists, we need to stand up against their stooges, against their puppets, like this tap dancing Uncle Tom, David Carroll. Now, David Carroll came up with a lot of ridiculous reasons to justify Donald Sterling's actions. First of all, he mentioned the fact that Donald Sterling donated to the Democratic Party. And I'm sure that he mentioned that just to be sarcastic, to say, well, you people support the Democrats and he donated money to the Democrats, so what are you complaining about? First of all, racism is not confined to any particular party. I mean, obviously, right now, the Republicans have a track record of catering to the most racist element. But racism is not confined to any particular party. And we should think, as black people, we should put our race first, the interests of our people before either political party. That should be our primary concern, the plight of our people, not any particular party. So the fact that this man gave a few dollars to the Democratic Party is irrelevant. And, in your video, you mentioned the NAACP. You talked about how they are recognizing this man. In the description box of this video, I will also include a link to a recent press statement the NAACP issued about this issue. And in that press statement, they make it clear that this man will not receive an award from the NAACP. So I want you to check out that press statement because that completely destroys part of his argument behind this, you know, his justification to support this racist bastard, Donald Sterling. And again, I'm sure he's being sarcastic about those statements because this man doesn't like anything that's black. He doesn't like black organizations of any stripe. This man is so stupid that he actually justified supporting the KKK. So this man is out of his mind. And as I said in one of my other videos, he's a deranged Uncle Tom who's lost his damn mind. Now, the next point that I want to go on to is his argument about African Americans who obtain education, you know, the African American middle class. He talked about how when African Americans get money, they leave the inner city. They leave the hood, basically. And he basically tried to make that equivalent to Donald Sterling's actions and his statements. There's no comparison between the two. First of all, I want to make a couple of points. The first point is, you know, even if we were to assume that action of moving out of the neighborhood, or even, you know, people that have self-hatred is a problem. And, you know, David Carroll is a prime example of self-hatred. But it's important for us to understand that self-hatred is a manifestation of the indoctrination that African Americans have been subjected to. We've been taught to hate ourselves. We've been taught to hate everything about being black. We've been programmed to adopt the same racist mentality of our oppressor. We've been programmed to hate dark skin. We've been programmed to hate our natural African features, our natural hair, our noses, our lips, and other features that make us distinct. We've been programmed to hate ourselves. And you can't use the fact that some people have been programmed to hate themselves to justify racism, to justify the actions of the oppressor who taught us to hate ourselves. That's the first thing. The second point is this. Poverty is not a black characteristic. It's nothing black about being poor. It's nothing black about being in the ghetto. That's a condition. In fact, that's a state of oppression. So anyone trying to obtain a higher economic status, that doesn't mean that they hate themselves necessarily. If they want to move to a more affluent neighborhood, that's not self-hatred. That's advancement. So, you know, that argument is ridiculous. I mean, people that attain, you know, degrees and they move to more affluent neighborhoods, they're not necessarily doing that out of hatred towards their own people. I mean, one thing that you could say is maybe it's classism. Maybe there's an element of classism there, but that's not racism necessarily. And again, even if, you know, some of these people do harbor self-hatred like you do, David Carroll, we got to remember the source of that self-hatred. Who taught us to hate ourselves, in the words of Malcolm? So, of course, you know, there's a distinction between, you know, the attitude of the middle class and the attitude of this white racist. And it's important to point out that the people that this woman was associating with, you know, people like Magic Johnson, she took a photograph with him. He's not in the hood. He's not one of these people living in the inner city that you're talking about. He's an affluent, wealthy businessman. He's an entrepreneur. He's a successful basketball player, one of the greatest of all time. So how can you compare him to the conditions in the inner city? It's no comparison. What this man, Donald Sterling, has done is he's made wide generalizations about black people in general, regardless of our class, our economic ranking, our fame and fortune. He's making a broad generalization about black people, period. That can't be compared to someone trying to advance in life by moving to a more affluent neighborhood. And again, the things that you talked about, the negative traits that you talked about, people sagging their pants or dropping out of school and all that kind of stuff, those aren't black characteristics. There's nothing inherently black about pathological behavior or problems associated with poverty. So disassociating yourself from crime and violence, that's not equivalent to someone writing off a whole race of people. So we need to wake up and quit buying into this nonsense that people like David Carroll put out here. This guy is a cartoon character. This guy is an attention whore, as one of the other YouTubers pointed out. These people like him and Painless, Risen, they will say anything for views. They have no integrity. They will sell their souls just for some views on YouTube, just for pennies from YouTube. And that's a damn disgrace. It's a shame. Damn Uncle Tom. And as I said in my first video, and I'm going to end on this note, as I said in my first video, this is not the first time Donald Sterling has been accused of racism. He was sued by the Justice Department for housing discrimination. He has been sued for employment discrimination. This man compared black people to vermin. He basically said that black people smell and we attract vermin. So it's time to wake up. Wake up.